All right, well, welcome back to the National Hardware Show. We're just going to let this video here run. This is a walkthrough of the second day of the show. If you didn't see the previous video, I'll try and link it down below. But really, this is probably going to be my last year. And I hate saying it, but I think it's going to be my last year going to the show. It was, in years past, it was a great show. I can still remember the first time I went, and it lived up to the name. It was everything you expected something calling itself the National Hardware Show to be. There were major brands there. It was a huge event. They had, not only did they have the main hall, and I think they also had the South Hall, they also had outside pavilions, the entire parking lot. It was a massive show, and it was really good to go and see what was going on in the industry. Now, of course, then the pandemic hit. We all know how that affected stuff, and many shows closed down, and this was one of them. Of course, you couldn't really do a show that year, but even when they tried to come back, many of them struggled and failed. And I hate to say that, but that's what's kind of feeling like what's happening here. Now, of course, the year after the pandemic, it was an embarrassment of a show. I went, and it was about half of one of the halls. And if you guys haven't been to the Las Vegas Convention Center, there's the main hall, the South Hall, the upstairs of the South Hall, the North Hall, and then the West Hall. And they're all massive, really. But this was, the year after, it was half of one of those halls. But it was what it was. But then after that, it started to come back. It started to get bigger. I'll put a link to last year's show so you can compare it to, like, say, the show right before the pandemic. And you can see those two. And even with this one, there's no comparison, folks. I mean, Fantic is there. Great. Hodo was there. That's nice. EcoFlow, Anchor Solex, a couple of the robot lawnmowers. There actually were several robot lawnmowers, but only one of them that was actually doing, was it Momotion or whatever, was doing with the Luba 2, which I'm a big fan. They were showing a big footprint there. Yarbo, that's it. Yarbo was there. Not a large booth. You'll see them here in a little bit, but they were there. But honestly, it was even the ones that you're like, oh, there's a major brand here, like Cat was there, but nothing there was actually from Cat. Everything in the Cat booth was somebody who was leasing their brand and selling their own products. There had to be 8 or 9 different resellers there that were just leasing the brand. Here we've got Cenix, which is a major player in outdoor power equipment. And I asked those guys, I'm like, all right, show me what's new and exciting. And they're like, nothing. This is all stuff we had last year. And that was what I got booth. And I can't really, I'm kind of hanging them out to dry here, but that was everyone. Everyone was, I'm like, what's new? And they're like, nothing. And I'm like, how do you go a whole year and not come out with a single new and exciting product? Why are you even at this show? And honestly, a lot of people weren't. There wasn't a single brand there from Stanley Black & Decker. No DeWalt, no Porter Cable, no Craftsman, not even Black & Decker themselves. I will take it back. There was one booth that said DeWalt, and it was for tape. And again, it was another company that had leased the brand name to sell their own product under. It wasn't actually Stanley Black & Decker. Their SK wasn't there. None of the major hand tool players were there. Great Star wasn't even there this year. The only hand tools I saw were from no-name importers from India and overseas, and they were all looking pretty much identical, kind of no-name kind of stuff. It was really kind of sad. There was not a lot of great content to show. Yeah, and unfortunately, there's just no of the major players were there, and it's been getting smaller. I won't say it's been getting smaller every year, because last year seemed like it was about to blow up. DCK slash Dong Tools or whatever was there, they weren't here this year. None of the major or even like second or third tier players were there, except for some of the outdoor power equipment stuff. There were some. Yard Force was there, these guys. But it was the gaping hole of major brands, or even secondary, third, or tertiary brands. It was just kind of depressing. The main show floor itself, even had major portions cordoned off, so it wasn't using the entire hall space. Last year they had the same hall, plus they had some additional rooms, and then they had the entirety of the parking lot. I didn't even film in the parking lot. It was so anemic. It was literally half the size it was last year, and almost nobody there was excited to be there. Last year, when you walked through, there were tons of people there. Everyone was excited, and there was lots of stuff going on. This year, it was just like the people showing were depressed. They weren't engaging with anybody. This is got to be one of, other than the show immediately after the pandemic, which I give everyone grace for, but this is not a show to go to anymore. It is. You could see some of the cordoned off areas there, so they didn't even have an entire floor. Lowe's was there looking for companies to work with. Walmart was there, but they don't even need to come to these shows, and they weren't like having people display all new and exciting products. Here's Anchor. They didn't even have that big a booth. There was nothing new and exciting at Anchor. Here's the Yarbo. We're going to be doing this. This is actually an exciting product. I think this is a really cool product for the right person. I think the market for this is really small, but I think that for that niche market, either the upscale homeowner who doesn't want to go out and actually do yard work, but has some challenging needs, or even in a commercial property that wants to, basically get rid of their maintenance contract and have something to just do it for them. I could really see them using something like this. It has that commercial kind of feel to it, but we'll be doing a full review on it here later. But that said, it was not exciting. Even in the outdoor power or the outdoor, good lawn and garden kind of stuff. We talk a lot about grills. Other than, Pit Boss was there, but they weren't talking to anybody. Blackstone was there. They were really mild-mannered. It was just kind of sad. I realize I'm kind of going on and on and on about this, but I think if you watch this, you go back and you watch the previous year's shows, you're going to see what I'm talking about. And the fact of the matter is, this show it's a dying show. And they're desperately trying to stay relevant. It was a poorly run show. I never did get feedback or any confirmation that I'd gotten tickets to the show or reservations. I had to call and try to get a hold of people. I got a hold of the person who's supposedly the manager of the show. He said, I'm going to get you some information. I'll text it to you in 5 minutes. Never heard back from him again. Everything about this show really felt like everyone had checked out. People were just phoning it in. And as you can see here, this is the middle of the show. This isn't like pre-gaming the show or anything. That's the show, folks. I'm sorry, but the National Hardware Show is done.